guys, what's up? In today's video, we're actually going to be talking about this Monstera Esqueleto. Now, if you recall, several videos ago, I had actually said I hated this plant and that I really regretted it, but I found a way to rescue it and have it give me this big, beautiful leaf. So, if you're interested, keep watching. If you're not, leave a comment down below. Give me a suggestion and maybe I will start making videos on it, but in any case, let's get into it. So before I get into how I managed to get this plant to produce these big, beautiful leaves, I actually want to give you guys a little bit of a summary as to how I acquired this plant and what its history was. If you're new to the channel, you probably don't already know, and if you already know, I will try my best to keep it short and not be rambling so much. But this plant I actually received as a top cutting, and it was fairly well rooted, and yeah, the leaves were, you know, fairly small. It was nowhere near the size of this, but you know, I was thinking it's a top cutting, it'll be fine. I'm gonna go ahead and insert a photo of the mother plant so that you guys can kind of gauge and see what it is that I had envisioned what the plant was going to look like. And unfortunately, I ended up getting small leaves like this, and yeah, it was just not happening for me. I was really disappointed, but my friend was like, no, it'll be fine, you know, it's just trying to establish itself. The next leaf will be bigger than the last. And you know, I waited several months, and not the case. It actually did produce a lot of leaves for me, but they were getting smaller and smaller. So what I ended up doing was I gave it a pole. So I did give it a pole that looked like this, and still no large leaves. In fact, I think last summer, because I purchased this plant 2 summers ago, last summer it ended up putting out more leaves, but they looked fairly sickly, and it gave me a lot of runners. Like, not a lot of runners, it gave me a very long runner. So I was just like, what is happening? So what I did do was I took the runner and had actually kind of like stuck it onto this meshy part so that it could attach itself and, you know, figure its life out. Didn't work, not the case. So how did I get this plant to produce this big, beautiful leaf? I got frustrated and I ended up actually chopping it down. So in my latest video, when I had showed you guys this plant, I cut off the runner and I ripped off the sickly baby leaves and left one. Actually, I left 2 nodes because the bottom one was kind of emerging, and then this one up here, you can't see, this one up here had a bud, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna cut it all down, and hopefully this plant wants to survive and it'll put all its energy into producing a large leaf. And I got what I wanted. So here we are. This is a giant leaf here from the bottom and one up here. Yeah, I was really impressed. I think the bottom one is longer, but the top one, it's like kind of wider. And then I don't know what this one is going to look like, but it is unfurling. And I will say, I'm not gonna know what it looks like because today I'm actually gonna be cutting it down again. So I do want a very luscious looking Monstera Esqueleto. So I had already started air layering this, and I'm gonna go ahead and just cut it down and give it more light. So I am going to put it in a, well, if there's room, I'll put it in my exo tank. But for today, I'm actually just going to cut it down and remove this this moss pole. So let's just get into that now. So like I said, I have already started air layering this because I didn't actually think this bottom bud was going to produce a nice leaf. So it did, and I'm happy it did. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here. And now that I'm left with a bottom cutting and a top cutting that's already been air layering, I'm debating if I want to cut this some more, just because this is, oh, you can't see, because this part here isn't, it's actually like a runner, because the new leaf is emerging from back here. So this is where the new leaf is coming in from, not from here. So I'm thinking of actually cutting this as well, just to see what happens. Technically I can cut this and I'll have myself a wet stick, but I'm really not about that, not right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and clip it some more here, because I do see a node that's coming up right here. So hopefully you guys can see this. So as you can see, it has a node right here. So maybe this plant will also produce a leaf here and I'll have a bushy bottom. But if it doesn't, that's okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and stake it back here so that this little aerial root can continue to grow. All right, so here it is, all staked up, and it's looking mighty fine. So like I said, maybe something will grow from that node, maybe not. It doesn't really matter to me because it's already putting off a new leaf, and that's all I care about at the moment. So there's that. And now as for this, let me show you how the roots have been developing. Here you go. Look at the roots on this guy. Now, I don't know if you guys were aware, but Monstera Esqueletos grow so fast. Like, I don't even know. It's just, it's amazing. It's amazing to see how quickly it grows, considering it was just a headache in the first place. But I'm really happy that I had some faith and kept going. So I'm gonna go ahead and pot this guy up. I am gonna continue to leave it in moss for now, just because that's currently what it's used to. Once it puts off another leaf, I will then go ahead and convert it over to soil. So for now, it's gonna go into moss, and I'll just do this off camera. All right, so here we are. I have my two cuttings that are all planted up. This one is in soil and this one is in moss. And actually, when I hold it like this, you guys can really see the big size difference. Like, the bottom cutting is significantly bigger and longer in comparison to the top cutting. I think the top cutting is actually more wide, but it is what it is. Now, the new leaf that is unfurling right here, I don't think it's going to be as big as this leaf, but we'll see. I think I may have stunted its growth, to be honest with you, but I did already air layer this, so maybe, just maybe, it will start to harden off and be bigger, but we will see. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but this bottom leaf is actually more faded in color in comparison to the top cutting, and that makes sense because when I had this plant, the light source was actually a lot lower, and the top cutting was growing up, so it was growing further away from the light, which is probably why it's more green. And like with any plant, I find that if it's too close to the light source, it will wash it out and fade it in color, so that's the reason why it does look a little bit more limey and lighter. I do want to mention one thing, and I did read somewhere that when you have a Monstera Esqueleto, you do want to provide it bright indirect light. And the reason for that is because it will give you bigger leaves. So I think that's also another reason why this leaf is significantly bigger in comparison to the top cutting. The only downside is that it does fade the color a little bit, and sometimes it can grow looking kind of sickly, but not this one. This one's doing really well, so I'm happy about that. And also, when you provide your plant with more light, the runner isn't as long. Like, it doesn't want to produce as much runners as it should. That's what I read anyways. I don't know that to be true for sure, but follow me on my plant journey. We're gonna figure it out together. But anyways, Tofu is starting to get rowdy over here. Come here. Okay. Tofu is starting to get rowdy over here, so I think it's time to take her out. But I hope you guys enjoy that video, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.